Once you receive your email from Jagger, you'll notice that your login ID is here. There'll also be a link to Jagger Direct. Click on that link. This page here will open. It's the login page for Jagger. Key in your username and then select I forgot my password. You're going to key in your username and your email that is associated with this account. Select password request. The password will be sent to the email on file. The email from Jagger will look like this. Please note there's an Oshkosh emblem here. The first section is in German. Go down to the second section, which is the English version. You're going to select this link. Once you select the link, this page will come up. Please note there is a set of rules over here that you have to follow. Key in your new password to meet those rules. And select Enter. Give it a few seconds and it will migrate you over to the Jagger platform. You will once again key in your user ID, your password, select Login, and you're now in the application. Once you've reset your password for our new Source to Pay platform, you'll simply come in here and hit Login. The system will automatically log you in and there'll be a series of steps that you need to do to complete the process. At the top of the screen you'll see an orange bar. Your registration has not been finished yet. Continue with the registration. So you're going to click on the little arrow here. I have already pre-filled this information out, so I am all the way over here on Profile. I'm going to move us back to Data. This is information that you have already filled out, but we want you to go through and verify the information, the company data, your address, telephone numbers, your website, and your DUNS number as well. And after you verify that information, please hit Continue. This will take us over to the contacts. Now, because I've actually created and registered myself, I am showing that I support sourcing, profile, order confirmation, company president, and payments. This is where you can add additional people from your organization into the platform. You do that by clicking the Add New Contact icon. Go through here, fill out the various information. And I'm just randomly putting some information in here. Classify it by department. I'm going to put purchasing. Key in a phone number. Remember, some of this is required wherever you see an asterisk. You can add a dash in there if you want. It doesn't really matter. An email. You'll want to be able to click this, toggle this button over here, because we want to make sure they have portal access. And when you're selecting a login name, as a reminder, just use the first part of your email address. For me, it's for this one here, I'm just putting D. Williams, and I'm going to leave off the @defense.oshkoshcorp.com and just use the first part of this. We want to also click this here, supplier portal ACL. This information is still the same. You don't need to do anything here for additional sites. You can ignore that. And once you do that, just hit Save. Now, what's happened there is whoever you've entered in this information for, they now have gotten an email and they will be able to go in and register themselves as well. Now, one of the things that's important here is while one person is setting up this registration process, if you have, let's say, 4 sites, then you want to set somebody up at each of those 4 sites, and then they have the ability to add additional contacts at those sites so they can begin to administer whether it's RFQs or POs or anything that's coming from Oshkosh. That site will be able to actually handle all of that information. So please keep that in mind. You want to be able to set this up so you're not administering the entire thing, but you have somebody at each of your sites that is administering the information. So from here, what we want to do is for sourcing, order confirmation, and payments, you have the ability to add multiple contacts in here. So what I'm going to do is I added Derek Williams. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to hit add responsibility. I'm going to look up the name, just right here, and select that name and then hit save. Now I can toggle between these. I selected sourcing, but you can select order confirmation or payments as well and hit save. What that's going to do is now you see two assignments here. I can do the same thing on order confirmation. Company president, that's only going to be allowed one person, and the profile is only going to be allowed one person. You can change who that person is over time. It's not a problem. You can actually, as that person leaves or if they move to a new role, you can just go in here, edit it, and then pick a new person and put them in there as the control for the overall profile. One other additional thing here I want to show, under sourcing you can see who all has assignments. So you can see that myself is there and also Derek Williams is there. You can also come over here and look at an entire list of contacts. You can see that I have two contacts here and that they have portal access. You can also delete them out from here, so as people come and go out of your company, you can just select contacts and hit delete. So once you've done all of that, we're going to migrate over to categories. I'm just going to hit continue. Under the categories, there are quite a few of them through here. This is something that's setting the stage for the future for us on how we're going to be doing sourcing. So I chose fabrications. You can also choose castings, machinings. I'm going to go ahead and choose castings. And there's a drop down here. Let's say you don't do ADI or ductile. So you can actually take those off right there, or you can come over to the other side of the page and you can go under, let's say this gray iron, you don't do that, so you can just hit delete right there. You will need to pick a primary. So for this one I just chose stampings, but it could be tanks. So you can pick as many secondary categories as you want, but you do need to pick one primary. That doesn't affect any sourcing decisions. I just want to make you aware of that there is one primary and several secondaries that you can pick. One of the things that we've added here is there's quite a bit of indirect, which we haven't had in the past. You can see land and cell phones, IT, travel and entertainment. So we're trying to take into account not only our direct suppliers that help us build our vehicles, but also our indirect suppliers as well. So once you've completed this, just hit continue. This is going to take us over to the profile. This is probably where the majority of the information is going to be entered as a supplier. It will tell you at the top here, you can see that I am missing a mandatory field. I'm at 97%. It will actually calculate it each time you hit save. I've actually pre-filled all of this information out to be able to walk through this video in a very expedited manner. So basically, I've read and understood the Oshkosh Supplier Code of Conduct. You can hit yes or no. Supplier Standards Guide, same thing, yes or no. This is a new one that we have. We have a new tool called Freedom. It has to do with modern day slavery and combating it as an organization. So we're asking that each of you go out to this site and register on that site. I went ahead and put yes here, but you can also put no. But we encourage you to go out and register on this site. Any additional information you can find on any additional information you can find on osn.oshkoshcorp.com. We'll provide a link for that when we distribute information out. General profile questions, supplier type. There's a few options here, from distributor to services to transportation. We're going to ask, are you public or private? Annual sales, employees, do you have a parent company? Are you US based? If you do hit yes here, it'll say add additional company site information. You don't need to click on that. In our production environment, you're not going to see that. Are you a US-based company? Do you do business-to-business or EDI integrations? Do you provide cost breakdowns? And you can enter comments in here wherever there's a comment field if you want to add some additional color, like, yes, we can, but we're not prepared to do this yet. We can do it at this date, something along those lines if you want. Do you have a cage code number? This tends to be specifically for defense. If you don't know what that is, you can actually utilize the link here to go out to a military website and actually get that information. That will be required if you're a defense supplier. I've actually chosen yes, and by default it's going to ask me what is the cage code. I've just entered some information in there. And then the last thing in this section is remit to address different than base address provided. If you click yes, it's going to ask you what that remit to information is. Most of you already have this information in, but be aware that it will prompt you to fill in that information. From the standpoint of a production calendar, what we're looking here for is what are the dates that you're off. This is an optional item. Just as a reminder, if you don't see an asterisk, it's not a required field. Basically, it'll look like this. So beginning date, ending date, shutdown explanation. So why are you off for that week? And this could be the Christmas, the Thanksgiving holidays, if you have a shutdown week in the middle of the summer, something along those lines. If you already have one of those, you can just choose a file off of your drive as well by selecting choose file and then uploading that information. Under the quality section, you've read and understand the supplier quality manual. If you have filled a supplier quality audit out, you can put that information here, and you can put I've completed it, or it may not be applicable. If you're a service provider for indirect services, then you would not have filled out one of these. This is just for direct suppliers. If your organization provides electronic parts, there's additional steps. This is specifically to defense. There's what we call a CDAAS document. It's Counterfeit Detection Audit Template. Again, you can fill that information out. I've completed it, or you cannot fill it out by saying not applicable. The next section here is tax information. We're asking, are you tax exempt? It's just a simple yes or no. What type of corporation are you? Please select your tax country or region. We only have EU, other, or US. Taxpayer ID. Are you 1099 reportable, yes or no? And then we're going to ask for an attachment, your W-9. And then the last thing here is accounts payable information. It's a simple yes or no. If you have not verified your accounts payable information under the contact section, this link will take you back to this contact section right here. Once you've completed all that information, just hit save. I do encourage you to hit save as you're going through this process just to ensure that you don't have any issues. If you try to go from general to products, it will give you a warning that you have not saved. So we're going to go over to products now. There's just some general questions here. Do you have in-house design, development, engineering capabilities? Yes or no? What level of PPAP are you capable of doing? And then there's a variety of statements here around quality and also production operations. You can key in any comments that apply, but for each of these questions, just select whatever applies to your organization. We also have a Qualtrics survey here. So a couple things with this. If you've not filled this Qualtrics survey out, we encourage you to go do it. With that said, if you have filled it out, there's an option right here to my company has completed the survey. Just check the box and we'll know that you've already done that survey. This is just around direct suppliers. Indirect suppliers or people who provide services, you will not need to fill out this Qualtrics survey. It is an optional item and the survey is quite long, so please be prepared to spend a little bit of time on this. It's probably a good 15-20 minutes to fill that survey out. And then this section here is just some follow-on questions since I chose fabrications as my category. You can go through here and select subcategories that apply to your company. So for example, under light fab, cut, form, assembly, if any of these apply to you or you do in-house paint, make sure you check those as well. And then I added a category when I went through here, so I can go through and click any of these that apply to my organization as well. If they don't, just leave them blank, it's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and put something in each of these, even though it wasn't required. After that is complete, we're going to hit save. And then we're going to go over to the certifications tab. There is one section in here that is required, and it's ISO or IATF. But if you are a indirect or service provider, just select no, because the requirement is just on answering the question. So if you select no, all of this section here will disappear. I'm going to leave that on there for just a second. If you are a direct supplier and you have ISO, IATF, or AS9100, select yes. There will be an option here for you to attach your ISO, IATF, or AS9100 certification. It'll ask for the issue date, the certifying agency, and the expiration date that goes along with that. Please keep in mind that these are usually good for 1 year. The expiration date will actually be spelled out on the actual certification. So it's pretty simple, and you can actually use this. It's just a calendar view. You can pull that information up pretty easily and then select those dates. If you are a defense supplier, there are some additional requirements that you need to fill out. The EJCP cybersecurity. Again, there will be an option here for you to fill out this information. I'm going to change this to no just to give you an example. I am going to hit save because it's going to change how this looks here just for a second. Oh, there it is. It's uploading now. I want to change this back to yes. It's going to ask for the cage code. It's going to ask for an issue date. I'm just going to pick this little calendar view and select January 6th. I do want to note that this is good for 5 years. So you can come over here for the expiration date once you fill this out. There is a double arrow right here which will take you out by year. So you'll see that has 2027, so it's good for 5 years. And you are manually entering this information, so please be conscious because the system will track when these expire. The same applies for cybersecurity certification. This is a DFARS clause. Same thing, you'll have an option to upload your certificate, signature, and expiration date. These are good for 3 years. And the link to the form is right here. And then the last one is representations and certifications. You can upload this document. This is a link to that document. Or you can put not applicable to my company. Once you've completed all of those, simply hit save. Now, as you can see, I'm still only at 97%. All suppliers will be required to fill out our BSC tab, which is Business Status Certification. So as we go down through here, we pre-populated supplier company. I have pre-populated the address, city, state, the zip code. Please note we want the full zip code plus the additional 4 for the extension. So make sure that you fill that out. We will be verifying that information, and if not, we would be rejecting the profile back to you to fill it out completely. Country, principal products and services, and then your NAICS code. Below this, there is some additional information here. If you have trouble determining your size status, please refer to the small business website. It'll ask if you're large or small, yes or no, foreign owned. If any of this applies, please make sure you check the box. Make sure you read any of the disclaimer information here. When you fill this out, we want to make sure that it's getting filled out accurately. And then finally, the authorized person, their title, their phone, and then today's date. And the one thing that was missing on here is I certify the above information is correct. You'll notice right here I'm only at 97%. I'm going to change this to I certify and hit save, and it will change that status to 100%. As you can see by the green, successfully saved, all mandatory fields are now filled out. The next section here is FFATA. If you are a defense supplier, you will be required to fill out this information. I have pre-filled this information out with, and all this would have been blank when you come in here. I have pre-filled this information out for the sake of this video. Basically name, business type. Business type can be manufacturing or services or something along those lines. Parent, vendor name, DUNS number, your street information. As you answer these questions, they are dynamic. Depending on how you answer them, they will expand into more questions. I'm going to take this back. So if I hit yes, I get this question. If I hit no, that question disappears. So please note, depending on how you answer these, that is how they will be displayed on the system. And then finally, we're asking that all the information be certified. So the name of the person certifying it, the title, the phone, and the date. And then, of course, I certify. After we have finished, we're going to hit save. And this is the completion of the overall registration process that you're going to go through to get yourself set up on the new Jagger platform or Oshkosh's new Source to Pay program. So once you've completed that, you're going to hit the Publish button right here. It's going to say, "Are you sure?" And then you hit OK. And then you will have gotten an email saying that you have registered and it's being reviewed by Oshkosh Corporation. This will be reviewed by all of our segments. If you supply more than one segment, it's reviewed by each of our segments at each of the at each of our purchasing organizations. Thank you for your time today, and if you have any questions, please let us know.